What is going on, everyone? It's me, and welcome to my channel. Join me for interesting questions answered about space, the universe, and everything in between. And today, we are answering. This meteorite contains something not found on Earth or Mars. What is it? Back in 2019, a meteorite that was discovered back in 2018 in Antarctica was finally getting some well-deserved attention. You see, most meteorites that have been found on Earth come from volcanic eruptions on Mars. NASA has spent millions of dollars searching for life on Mars, but they aren't searching for life as we know it. If life on Mars existed at all, it would have to exist in the form of microorganisms because Mars doesn't have any forests, oceans, or animals. There's no way that humans or dinosaurs ever evolved on Mars, and if life did exist on Mars, it wouldn't be there anymore. But we know that this rock formed on the surface because it's full of gas bubbles. First, a magma chamber started forming underneath the surface of Mars. Then microorganisms started growing in the gas bubbles, and they caused an explosion that brought the magma up to the surface. That explosion could have been caused by the microorganisms reproducing rapidly and releasing a ton of gas. Then the gas and the magma mixed together and formed this rock. And sure, we have seen comets and asteroids hit the planet before, but we haven't seen any hit each other, so it's kind of cool that a piece of Mars ended up here. That is how we ended up with a rock full of gas bubbles that should not have been there. Who knows? Maybe we'll find more meteorites that contain things that shouldn't be there, and we can start to answer more questions about the universe. The only way that this rock could have formed on the surface of Mars is if something was there to trap the gases and create these bubbles. Unfortunately, it's very unlikely that we'll ever be able to find life on Mars. Head over to my question page where you can submit your question to be answered in a future episode. I'm constantly looking through the questions that are submitted there for ideas for future videos. You can head over there right now and do just that. Also, if you want to support the channel and get access to exclusive content, consider becoming a patron. I appreciate all of your support, and I hope that you're having a good day. Keep looking up. We don't know which one is true because scientists can't agree. But one thing is certain, something caused this rock to become the way that it did. And we're probably never going to know what that was. I mean, we haven't found any evidence of life on Mars yet, and Mars is dead. Any life that existed on Mars likely died off billions of years ago. Even if we do find fossils on Mars someday, the microorganisms that were alive when the rock was created would not be around anymore. So we wouldn't be able to study the actual organisms that helped make this meteorite. Scientists say that this trapped gas is evidence that shergottites could not have formed on their own on Mars, and so they must have needed help. Mars is a dead planet. They say that maybe this rock formed in outer space, and then it fell to Mars. Maybe it didn't have anything to do with Mars at all. And maybe it's just a random coincidence that this rock has minerals that shouldn't be there. I guess we'll just have to wait until we find more meteorites like this one, and we can compare them and try to understand them better. This meteorite is different because we know that it didn't come from a volcano. All of those things were present on Mars billions of years ago, but now the planet is frozen, solid, and lifeless. But before Mars turned into the red planet that we know today, it might have looked a lot like Earth. In fact, we think that liquid water may have existed on the surface of Mars, just like we have here on Earth. We also think that the atmosphere on Mars used to be thick enough to support life, but eventually the atmosphere became thinner and the water froze. Now the only water we find on Mars is in ice caps and underground. Its minerals indicate that it cooled slowly over millions of years and then experienced extreme temperatures all at once. Scientists say that the minerals inside of it are evidence that there was life on Mars. But how exactly does this meteorite prove that there was life on Mars? Well, let's look at what we know about the minerals first. The minerals inside of this meteorite are called shergottites, and these are rare. We've only found 60 of them since the 1960s. Shergottites are a type of igneous rock that comes from magma. And we know that the magma that created this rock is from Mars, because there is a mineral in the rock called olivine that can only exist on Mars. Olivine is a mineral that exists in the mantle of the Earth, and it couldn't survive here on the surface because it reacts with our atmosphere. On Mars, the atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, and so the olivine can exist on the surface of Mars. So that's why we know that this meteorite came from Mars. The rock would have needed to be around 700 degrees Celsius or 1300 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 days. And that's really hot. That temperature is even hotter than the core of Earth. And it's unlikely that Mars could get that hot without being a molten ball of lava. Scientists had been able to date this rock, and it turns out that this space rock came from Mars around 1 billion years ago, because they could unexplain how it got to be the way that it did. Researchers studied its mineral composition and concluded that these minerals would only be found on Earth or Mars under extreme conditions. So how did this Martian meteorite end up with these minerals? Well, that's what scientists are trying to figure out. But first, let's talk more about this meteorite itself. And that isn't all too surprising, because we do find meteorites from Mars from time to time. But here's where things get weird. This rock has something that shouldn't be there, and scientists can't explain why. They named this weird space rock Allen Hills 84001, and it's an achondrite meteorite. That means that it formed in outer space, and it's not made up of dust or gas like other space rocks. It's actually composed of minerals and crystals. Back in 2019, when the paper got published about this rock, scientists said that it was puzzling them. This meteorite is unique because it's one of the few that came from Mars that we know did come from a volcano. So how did this meteorite experience such high temperatures? Well, that's the million-dollar question. Literally. In order for life to evolve on Mars, you need water, organic molecules, and an energy source. But let's get back to this meteorite. The reason scientists are saying that shergottites could only form with the help of living organisms is because they were only supposed to be found deep within the core of planets like Mars. Here's what they think happened. Now, this is just a theory, but it's the only theory that makes sense considering the composition of this rock. There are two possibilities here. Either there was life on Mars and the organisms somehow influenced this rock, or there is no life on Mars and this rock formed without any help. Some scientists are even saying that this rock didn't form on Mars at all. Personally, I think it's kind of crazy that something that crashed into Earth came from Mars. I mean, Mars is pretty far away. Scientists will continue to study this meteorite and others like it. And hopefully we'll learn more about the history of our solar system and maybe even life beyond Earth. What do you think this meteorite contains? Let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching. So I'm always looking for new and exciting questions of the universe that we can answer. And I thought that you might be able to help me.